Hello, today's video we are going to be covering how to use reciprocals to divide fractions. Hi everybody. The first thing that we have to do today is we have to understand what a reciprocal is. We can't divide using reciprocals until we know what that means. So let's start with that. In order to show what a reciprocal is, we're going to use this fraction 3/5. So here is the definition of reciprocal in terms of math. It's one of a pair of numbers that, when multiplied together, equal 1. I would copy this down in your notebook. It's an important term to know. So now that we have the definition, I'm going to go ahead and show you what the reciprocal of 3/5 would be. In order to find the reciprocal, what we're going to do is we're going to take our denominator and make it our numerator, and then our numerator is going to become our denominator. And we're going to multiply those two things. So we're going to switch the 5 and the 3. So it would be times 5/3. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this. 3 times 5, we multiply straight across when we're multiplying fractions, 15. 5 times 3, same thing, 15. Guess what? 15 over 15, well, that is equal to 1. So that is an example of a reciprocal. Just to give you another example, let's say we had 2/3. Okay, we're going to switch denominator to our numerator. Numerator becomes our denominator, times 3/2. Guess what? 2 times 3, 3 times 2, they're both 6. 6 over 6 is equal to 1. What would happen if we had a whole number? Okay, well, let's say we had the whole number 8. Okay, what is 8 as a fraction? It's 8 over 1. Okay, we have a denominator, we have a numerator. We're going to flip them. 1/8. 8 times 1 and 1 times 8 are the same things. We get 1. Something that I want to point out is that 3/5 was our original fraction. This entire thing is not the reciprocal, us doing this multiplication and finding that it's going to equal 1. The reciprocal is something that we find in relation to that first fraction. So our first fraction was 3/5. Our reciprocal would have been 5/3, as you can see outlined in the red box here. Same thing goes for the bottom two that we worked on. 2/3 was our original fraction, and 3/2 would have been the reciprocal. And our last example, 8 over 1 would have been the original fraction, or just 8, and our reciprocal, outlined in red, would have been 1/8. This is what they mean by one of a pair. We have a pair of fractions. One is the original fraction, and one is the reciprocal. Now that we know what a reciprocal is, we're going to go ahead and use that to divide fractions. This is the easiest way to divide fractions. You just can't have mixed numbers. And if we do have mixed numbers, what we need to do is convert those into improper fractions. For our first example, we're going to use one that has a common denominator because we've already covered that in a lesson before. So let's go ahead and work through this problem. Remember that when we are working with fractions that have a common denominator and we're dividing them, as long as this is the same, 12 and 12, we can go ahead and divide straight across. 12 divided by 12 would be 1. And then we divide straight across the top. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our answer here is 3. So now to today's portion of the lesson. We're going to use this same division problem, 6/12 divided by 2/12, but we're going to do it by finding the reciprocal and multiplying it. So here we have 6/12 divided by 2/12, and you'll see that I have written keep, change, flip across the top here. This is a common thing that you might hear a teacher say in 6th grade when we are referring to using reciprocals to divide fractions. All right, let's explain what this means. First of all, let's focus on keep. Keep means to keep something the same. We're not going to change it. All right, so 6/12, we're going to rewrite this problem. So we're going to have 6/12. That's going to keep the same thing. we're going to change something. Change means we're going to do something different. All right, we're going to look at this division symbol. That's actually going to become, it's going to change to multiplication. All right, and flip. Okay, if we flip something, I could flip a piece of paper over, or I could do a kick flip. It means that something is rotating or changing, moving over. So we're going to flip, or we're going to find the reciprocal of 2/12. Remember, that means that our numerator becomes our denominator, or our denominator becomes our numerator. So when we flip this fraction, it becomes 12 over 2, or 12 halves. All right, now we just need to solve this. All right, what I like about this method is it works for anything as long as we have improper fractions and we don't have mixed numbers. All right, so let's go ahead and solve this. 6 times 12, well, 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 2 is 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. And 2 times 12 is 24. Let's go ahead and throw this in our calculator. 72 divided by 24, 3 exactly. So 72 divided by 24 was equal to 3. And we can see we got the same answer. So here, it doesn't matter how we want to do this. We had common denominators, so we could just divide straight across like we did in example problem number 1, or we could use the keep, change, flip method and able to solve it that way. Now you might be sitting there at home thinking, keep, change, flip seems kind of confusing or a little bit harder. Why would I not just divide straight across? Well, you can't divide straight across when you don't have common denominators. All right, keep, change, flip works all the time. So let's just choose some random numbers and we'll find the answer to another problem. So here's the second problem we're going to work through. We have 8/9 divided by 2 and 1/2. First things first, we cannot have a mixed number when we're trying to do this method. So we need to rewrite this problem. 8/9 is fine. Okay, divided by. To turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, we multiply our coefficient here, or our whole number, by our denominator, and we add it to our numerator. 2 times 2 would be 4. We add that to the 1 that we have, so we would actually have 5 halves. All right, 2 and 1/2 becomes 5 halves. Both of those things are the same. I'm going to show the last problem really quickly, just to refer back to that keep, change, flip. We're going to keep that first fraction the same. Our division is going to become multiplication. And then we are going to write the reciprocal, or we're going to flip that second fraction. So here we go. We're going to keep this the same, 8/9. We're going to change from division to multiplication. And we're going to flip or find the reciprocal of 5 halves, which would be 2/5. Then we are going to do just fraction multiplication. 8 times 2, 16. 9 times 5, 45. My answer, 16/45. There you have it. That's how you find reciprocals, as well as how to use reciprocals to divide fractions.